Hi, I'm Chrissy Hejny. I'm actually going to turn off the camera, but I wanted you to see that it was me giving the presentation. So off with my face. Hi, as I said, I'm Chrissy Haney, and my library visit was to Austin Central Library. I'm going to be honest, I've been to this library many times. I take my kids pretty frequently. Sometimes I go there to grade essays and do homework. However, visiting for this assignment really opened my eyes to things that I hadn't thought of before. And I highly recommend going if you haven't been to Austin Central to get out here and go as quick as you can because it's amazing. Not only is it a truly remarkable physical space, it's everything a solid library should be. The purpose of my visit was to check out our assigned books if I could find them and make observations on the quality of the library's collection with regard to diversity and intellectual freedom. And so I want to frame this presentation with that. It's important to establish the fact that intellectual freedom and diverse literature go hand in hand. You can't truly have one without the other. And Austin Central has both of them in spades. One reason these go hand in hand is because, as PEN America reported last November, censorship attempts disproportionately target diverse pieces of literature, namely about racism, LGBTQ plus stories and characters, characters of color, and so on. Austin Public Library resists censorship and promotes inclusivity and intellectual freedom, and I'll be showing you several examples of those as we go through the presentation. The photos on this slide are both photos that I took in Teen Central, which is a lovely area that I'll be showing you. The one on the left shows a quote from Amanda Gorman's poem, The Hill We Climb, which she famously recited at President Biden's inauguration in 2021. And the photo on the right shows a pride flag hanging in one of the many windows in Teen Central. And to me, that's ensuring that everyone who enters feels welcome and safe. On the intellectual freedom section of their website, the American Library Association states that a publicly supported library provides free, equitable, and confidential access to information for all people of its community. Austin Central was already doing that even before the grand opening of this branch. In 2017, a couple months before the grand opening, Austin Public Library posted this tweet. It was a tweet back then. Now it's called an X post. But it's welcoming every Austin citizen, even the unhoused, into the space. And they also included the rainbow heart logo there, which perhaps the rainbow, signifies pride and diversity. But to me, it also represents the library as sort of the heart of the community, a hub of unlimited knowledge, information, access, and support. And so I feel like that was a pretty strong message to Austinites saying everyone is welcome here, no matter who you are, we have a space for you. So now we can move along to the actual space, Austin Central Library. If you haven't been here, as I said before, and I'll say it again, I highly recommend you visit as quickly as you can. It's amazing. It's an incredible space. It is a 6-story building with an atrium that goes from the ground floor all the way to the skylights at the top of the 6th floor. I personally like to enter from the ground floor because the view is stellar. The first thing you see is, well, first of all, your gaze immediately goes up. But the first thing you see in your line of sight is the demonstration area, which is like large carpeted bleachers, kind of like a mini amphitheater where they have author visits and such. And then as your gaze draws upward, you're looking up all the way up to the ceiling of a 6-story building. And in between, you're seeing floating staircases and walkways that are lit up, and also the unbelievable 37-foot kinetic sculpture. It's called Caw on the wall of the atrium. It's incredible. The space itself is truly physically and metaphorically open and modern. It really evokes a sense of wonder and curiosity, and it makes you just itch to go exploring, to see what's on every floor and what's behind every door. I also want to point out in this photo, it's kind of hard to see, but at the bottom left, you can see a pride flag hanging there. And this is up on the second floor. So this photo was taken from the ground floor where I prefer to walk in because of the cool view. And then when you walk up these stairs, this is sort of the main hub of the library, which we will travel up to now. So the second floor is the main hub of the library. There are lots of people roaming around. There's a gift shop, the hold shelves where you can pick up books that you've reserved. It's where you get your library card. There are lots of tables and seating, comfy seating. Everything is up here. Always lots of people milling around. I would argue that this is the main circulation desk of the library. This is where you come with big questions, library cards, and things like that. This is also where the community board is housed. I'll show you that in a second. You can see these are the computers that you have to use to, sign up for a card or renew your card or whatever. This is the reserve shelf right here. And then this is another view from the second floor of the cool staircases and walkways that go all around the atrium. So some photos of this area, colorful windows. This is actually on the ground floor. It says meander and take the stairs. And it's just encouraging people to walk around and explore the space and connect not only with the space itself, but with other visitors. And there are a lot of stairs. When I first looked at this sign, I thought, well, is this a little bit ableist? Not everybody can take the stairs, but the library is very accessible. There are large elevators that are convenient. They're not hidden away. They're all kind of centrally located. The walkways that lead from one side of the atrium to another are wheelchair accessible. And so it is a very accessible space for people of all physical abilities as well. Here's the community board. There are flyers for things like Pride Book Club, puppet shows. The library teamed up with the local YWCA to do a Reproductive Healthcare 101 class, and so on. A great example of intellectual freedom going on there. Some more colorful windows, beautiful view. And then finally, here's the signage in front of Teen Central, which is where we're going to head next. So from here, we're going to go up to the third floor, which is absolutely amazing. The third floor is entirely dedicated to youth, children, tweens, and teens. And our first stop is going to be Teen Central, which is like a physical manifestation of Bishop's windows, mirrors metaphor. The space has everything that this population could possibly want or need from their library. Diverse books, Lego, gaming computers, sound recording gear, a crafting table, and much more. And when we walked in, the librarian warmly welcomed us and reminded us gently that we are welcome to wander, but parking privileges are for teens only. And fun fact, I told the librarian that I was working on an assignment for my master's degree, and I found out that she is in this same class with me. So that was a cool point of connection. So this photo that you're seeing here, I took it from the atrium on the third floor. It's the Children and Family Atrium. You'll see more photos of that here in a minute. But this is the view, and you can see the windows, floor-to-ceiling windows, beautiful. It goes all the way around the teen area, so you get a glimpse into the teen section. It's really lovely. And we'll talk about the atrium itself in a second. And let's see, so some photos of Teen Central. So this is cool, and I think this is another great example of intellectual freedom. Outside of Teen Central, in the open atrium between the teen and the children's wings, are shelves, open bookshelves. These that you're looking at here are filled with graphic novels, and there's another shelf just to the right over here that's full of teen manga books. So it's really interesting. Anyone can walk up, and there's such a huge array of books here, and I'm about to show you one of them. One of them is called Superman Smashes the Klan. This was on display right here on this graphic novel shelf facing forward. And this was just such a perfect example. It's about a Chinese American family being harassed by the Ku Klux Klan. And Superman steps in to help them and has some identity issues of his own to iron out. And this is a great example of diverse literature right there on display out in the public where anyone can grab it and enjoy it. Here you can see the sound recording area. You can see the Lego displays on top of the shelf. My teenage daughter is right here, and she is writing in dry erase marker on the end of this bookshelf here, which I'll show you in a moment. Here's that window again with the pride flag. You can see these incredible gaming computers for the teens to utilize. These are absolutely lovely. And again, this area, the Teen Central area, is such a great example of Austin Central's efforts to promote intellectual freedom. These kids can come into this space and enjoy it with no constraints and no limits. There's also a Happy Pride book display in the Teen Central. And I also happened to find on the Austin Public Library events webpage a teen LGBTQ plus craft club coming up, which is really kind of fun. Some more photos of Teen Central. This is another view. This is kind of the opposite perspective of the bookshelves. You can see where kids have written here. Another great example of intellectual freedom. These are dry erase boards and there are markers. Some of the shelves have prompts written on them that the kids can answer, and others are just spots where they can draw or write affirmations or, write poems or whatever they want. It's amazing. Flexible seating for the teens. The screen is scrolling several menu items for events and things like that. This one has the Teen Central values: teens only, teen led, teen centered, our staff loves teens. This one's really neat. They have an event coming up called Tell Your Community's Story, and it's a journalism workshop for teens, and they get to work with a journalist from KUT, which is our local Austin NPR station, and they get to come to this workshop with questions about their community, like what's that old building, or what's behind this mystery, and they get to research and create a story to answer interesting questions about their communities. Pretty cool. Here's another perspective of the music area. You can see the gaming computers over here, recording equipment. And another book that I thought was a good example of diverse literature out in the open was this book called I Felt Myself Slipping. It's about two queer girls, and there's no romance. It's just friendship, and they're dealing with regular teen struggles, and it very much just normalizes normal, quote unquote, queer teens without making it, without it being dramatic. It's just normal teens. I also found on the Austin Public Library website, I stumbled upon the banned books page from last fall. And I knew that they did events and such because they actually partner with my school, but I didn't know that they had these banned book kits that you can check out. You can see they have them here for kids, teens, adults, and in Espanol. So I, of course, immediately clicked on teens to see what the teen banned book kits looked like and spotted a ton of good ones. One of which was Felix Ever After, which is a book that it's one of our required readings for this course. And The Hate You Give was another that I spotted. And my oldest daughter actually just was assigned this book for Advanced English 1 for next year. She had to do it for summer work. Another great example of intellectual freedom, resisting censorship and making sure that every single citizen has access to everything they want and need. Okay, we're going to move across the atrium now over to the Children's Wonderland section. This place is so fun and enticing for curious kids. You can see these round windows they can climb on. There's stroller parking down here for the grown-ups to put the strollers. There's a life-size chessboard. My daughters and I have played many a match there. The children's section it's an absolute marvel, and There are so many books. When you look around this section, it feels like there are more books just in the children's wing than there are in the rest of the library. There's just so much. It's incredible. Also, kind of in the back near the children's reading porch, there's a section devoted entirely to tweens. So again, another example of the promotion of intellectual freedom. Anyone can come in here, and making these groups, especially like teens and tweens, who are sometimes left out, because so much is geared toward small children and adults, them being able to walk in and find gaming stations, diverse books, and things like that. There's also a cool artwork display that I'll show you in a moment. So some photos from Children's Wonderland. This is the Creative Commons. It's empty here in this photo, but by the time we left the children's section, it was full of kids crafting stuff. And then I have some pictures, whoops, of some artwork that was done by the students of the Ross and Saunders School. That's the dyslexia school here in Austin. And these artworks were very incredibly inspiring. They made these to demonstrate the various ways that dyslexia affects their brains and their thought processes. And this is very much a window for me. As a person who is not dyslexic, I'm able to see this artwork that these kids created and just kind of get a glimpse into what their world can look like and feel like. It was very moving. This is a great example of inclusivity in the library, and of course acceptance of all abilities, and encouraging our youth to embrace their differences no matter what. This painting by Misha Blaze there's a whole series in the children's section, and I chose to share this one with you because it clearly indicates again that this is a place for honoring and accepting our similarities and differences alike. And here are some more books just showcasing the diverse nature of the books in the children's section. More photos of Wonderland, more and more diverse books. Everywhere you look in this section of the library, you are seeing something different. It's incredible. I also wanted to point out that there are 2 whole shelves. This shelf, number 11, and the one next to it, these are all books in Espanol, which is really great and obviously very inclusive. And then this was just a table with summer reading logs. They've got a little survey for what are your favorite things that you read. And it goes, by age. And so kids can pick, their age group and fill out their summer reading log. So in her article, Sandra Hughes Hassel frames diverse literature as counter storytelling. I thought this was a really powerful way of putting it. I actually just took a storytelling course last semester that was wonderful, and it really made me think that word counter storytelling is so interesting. And it's all about challenging the narratives surrounding marginalized groups. And because a lot of these stories and voices haven't been heard. And if they have, it's been through negative and stereotypical portrayals. And so it's a powerful way to tell these stories and challenge those narratives, which will hopefully in turn dispel stereotypes. And that also reminded me of the Higgins and Stark article that I read for a previous assignment. And they talked about stereotype replacement and implicit bias replacement techniques. And that's the hope, right? Is that our children will look around and see all of these different languages and colors and cultures and religions and everything, and that they will grow up just thinking that it's all normal, not afraid or, befuddled or confused, but just, hey, this is normal. I'm surrounded by diversity all the time, and that's just what the world looks like to me, right? So as you can see, there's no shortage of examples of diverse literature and the encouragement of intellectual freedom at Austin Central. They have diverse displays, and they put forth a concerted, intentional, deliberate effort to bring all members of the community together to learn, to share, and to use their resources. Um, from welcoming unhoused people into the library, you will frequently see unhoused people in Austin Central, whether they are organizing a backpack or cleaning up in the bathroom or charging a device, or using a computer to look for a job or some housing. They are welcome in there, and they are welcome to seek information and use it however they see fit, with no discrimination, and no one gets turned away. Also, to me, as a high school teacher and a mother of a teen, I just find it to be so wonderful that Austin Central deliberately and intentionally welcomes teens and tweens and gives them their own space to really dig in and learn and express themselves in whatever way they see fit, without fear, without formulas, without constraints. It's very lovely. And just giving the whole community access to all of this incredible art and literature is just, it's just the tops. So here are my references, and here's another photo I took. This is the Children and Family Atrium, which I love. I absolutely love this space. It's so open and breezy and cool, and everyone is just doing their own thing, whatever that may be, and utilizing the space for exactly what it's meant for. And you can see over here is Teen Central. This is the manga shelves. And then you can see the round windows of Children's Wonderland. And I'm standing, this is taken from the vantage point, I'm standing at the chessboard. And then, of course, the Caw sculpture with the cuckoo clock that is covered in Austin grackles is just breathtaking. Amazing. Thank you so much for watching my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. And again, I really hope you get out to Austin Central Library very soon, because it's an incredible experience. Thanks so much.